Hello, podcast listener. You're not listening to a nationally regarded podcast. You're listening to JJ Meets World. Good job. Tucker and I talk about a family heirloom that is a t-shirt handed down from generation to generation. And then we get the folks from Dak & Co. who come in here and tell us all about the great things that they're doing, a little bit about their history, and what it's like to make a fight not a business fight, but a personal fight. All of this and more on today's episode of JJ Meets World. Speaking of JJ Meets World, patreon.com/JJ Meets World. It helps us keep the lights on. Head over there and give us your moolah.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is. He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirled as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called JJ Meets World.
In my household, we have a t-shirt that is pretty legendary. The legend is that my aunt got this shirt at a Don McLean concert years and years and years and years ago. Don McLean, the man who sings American Pie. And what the shirt is the word American Pie, and then in typewriter typeset, it's all of the lyrics to the entire song. And it's not jumbled all over the place. It looks as if someone, like a secretary somewhere, typed it.
A lot of lyrics in that song.
There are a lot of lyrics. And it's just it's a shirt that I think she loved, and then she gave it to my mom, and my mom wore it, and then somehow it got handed down to my sister at one point. And it's my sister's favorite just lounging around shirt. But it's now so old, and it's been washed so many times, even though the lettering is still really crisp. Whatever kind of lead-based ink that they use really still pops. But the material itself is paper thin. No, it's even thinner than that because you can see right through it. So my sister no longer wears it out of the house, obviously. But I love the fact that there's a piece of clothing that represents so much in our household, that it's a story and people think about it all the time.
Like, you'll still hold on to it past the time that it can even be worn as a shirt anymore.
Right, because it means something. And I think some families have that with a piece of clothing, and it might be a wedding dress. It could be, I have a sporran that came over from Scotland,
nice.
generations upon generations ago. And people might not think about it, but clothing means a lot to them. And there's an emotion attached to clothing a lot of times. I remember when I was younger wanting a pair of Air Jordans, and when my parents said that I couldn't get it because they were over $100, I thought, well, how am I supposed to have status if I don't have these shoes? And it turned out that I had a friend who told me, well, if everyone has them, they're not special.
Right.
And that really sunk into me, and I'm like, yeah, that's right. Nobody else has these Payless kicks I'm rocking.
Yeah, but I know for a fact, JJ, that you were not a discerning child when it came to the T-shirts you put on.
No.
Because I remember in your more recent TEDx talk, you have a photo of you in a DKNY.
Yep, Donna Karen of New York.
And you're like second grade?
No, that
grade?
was 6th or 7th grade.
6th or 7th grade.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was a really classy, good-looking guy.
I had a New Kids on the Block sweatshirt that I stopped wearing in 2nd grade.
Really?
Yep. So that was through...
Because you gave up on them? You're like, no, I'm more of a Nirvana guy.
I was growing, so I just outgrew the shirt. And I'd never listened to any of their songs, but I had the sweater.
I have a Ralph Wiggum shirt from The Simpsons where it's Ralph and he's picking his nose. And I thought that shirt was hilarious. And I wore it a ton, probably around the 2005, 2006 mark. And once I stopped wearing it is when I started dating again.
I have a sordid history in elementary school of wearing dinosaur clothing to my photos. It happened twice. Both times I was told not to do it, and then I did it. First time was in 1st grade, and I had I'd been given for Christmas that year a gift, which was you could color in this picture of a dinosaur scene and then iron it onto a shirt and make your own shirt. And so I got to do that. I got to iron on my own painted dinosaur scene. I thought it was great, and I wanted to wear it for school photos that day. And so I got dressed. This is first grade. I go downstairs. Mom says, "You can't wear that. It's school photo day." And I'm like, "But I love this shirt." And she goes, "Well, you have to wear this sweater over it." So she gave me a sweater and put it on me, and I wore it to school. And when it was time for my turn to go up and get my photo, I took that sweater off. I threw it to the ground, and I got my photograph taken in my dinosaur shirt. And she didn't find out about it until the pictures came in the mail. Fast forward to fourth grade, I'm now chubby like a Campbell Soup kid. I'm wearing pink women's glasses because I think that the pink color looks like my skin tone and therefore will blend into my face and you'd barely see my glasses. And I wore a dinosaur sweatpant and sweatshirt outfit.
You are one classy so-and-so.
Right?
Oh boy, it's a good thing that we've got our guests today, Kayla and Piet from Dak & Company, coming in. Maybe they can give us some fashion tips because...
As soon as they can make dinosaur clothing, I'll go and buy some from them.
Okay.
That's the deal.
You heard it here, folks. Tucker just said where he's going to be spending his money.
Because they've got a bison, they've got a turtle, and what else do they have?
They got a moose.
They got a moose, and they just need a triceratops.
Oh, it's going to be a triceratops.
That or a T-Rex, one of those two.
What about Stegosaurus?
I'd be down with that.
Brontosaurus.
I'd be down with Ankylosaurus. I'd be down with Diplodocus, but I really would want a T-Rex and
What about
and
a T-shirt that starts on the side and it's a Brontosaurus, and so you see the body and the tail of the Brontosaurus, and then the neck comes up, but it connects right below where your collar ends, and so it looks like your head is the Brontosaurus head.
I would wear it.
I'm going to take that idea and share it with Kayla and Piet and see if they like it. You're going to enjoy this episode. I think you're going to have just a blast and a half with it. And speaking of blasting and halving, why not go and blast half your paycheck into our Patreon account?
I was on the edge of my seat for these Patreon pitches.
Yeah, how am I going to get it? Patreon.com/JJMeetsWorld is how we keep the lights on. You can donate up to $1 million a month, or maybe just...
You could do more than that.
Maybe just $1 a month, whatever you want to give. We'll never charge you for an episode, but this is like the Goodwill offering. It's like church. They're never going to charge you to go to church, but boy, oh boy, are they going to hand out those little plates. So whatever you can spare, everybody. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of JJ Meets World.
JJ Meets World.
It starts this easily. Isn't this great? Like, we just get straight into it.
Love it.
Kayla and Piet, welcome to our studio, which is just like 10 feet away from your studio here at Apt. And let's start by just telling people a little bit about your story, who you are, what you do.
You want to go ahead?
I'll take it.
Okay.
We're DAC and Collaboratives. We're part of the APT Artist Incubator, and we design apparel. And we work with Fargo and focus on local, and we also focus on having a boutique feel. We design men's and women's wear, and we love collaborating with other groups in the community to make epic things happen.
Yeah, we sorted out together. A little bit of a backstory as Kayla came over to South Africa with me after I met her like a month later, and we started over there doing business together and realized that we function really well together, and she's the creative and I'm the builder and structure, and I can keep things together, and she dreams big and then I just kind of make it happen. And after that we knew we need to start something together. Came to Fargo and started with DAC & Co in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And February we had things going up, and then March I think we were ready. By June we had our birthday.
June we were in Apt. We moved in, and then it all kind of fell into place from there.
You talked about how you complement each other so well. And isn't that important in a partnership when you find someone who covers your deficiencies or allows you to continue dreaming big in your way?
We don't have that here at JJ.
We don't. We don't.
We're both her.
Yeah.
Neither of us are you.
That's why, our guest book are these signed hands on canvas prints, and I've got maybe 5 or 8 episodes behind on hanging them. So if you ever want to come over here, Piet, and just pound some nails, that's just fine.
Yeah, sure. I'm kind of the handyman, and they know to call me or to help with if anybody needs help in the studios
apps,
or an
yeah.
app or so on. But yeah, I used to actually maintain this building working for RPS.
Really?
And then that's kind of where I met Dana the first time, right when app moved in. And we moved in about 3 months later after app started.
I think about 6 months
little bit
later,
longer. Okay.
we looked at the place and we thought this is the right fit for us.
Yeah,
and,
this is gonna
and ended
work.
up moving in that June.
So really your business is young, but it's got a brand quality that's been like you've been around for 25 years.
Cool, thank
I
you.
mean, I think a lot of people already recognize what you guys are doing and already want to be a part of what you guys are doing. And that is amazing. So, what do you attribute the explosion to?
To love. Showing love to one another, showing love to others, and trying to help where we can, and just build other people up as well as while we're growing, and who else we can help with us and take with us. And Kayla does an amazing job on the marketing. Again, that's where I lack. That's not my start. That's not my stuff. I mean, if I open up my Facebook and I see this, I don't go regularly on it, and I see 50 notifications. I probably should see what's going on right now. And it's just that can go. Okay, so Kayla was busy.
But
Cool.
she's like, ooh, 15 notifications.
Yeah, she's happy.
Yeah. It's
Excellent.
love and authenticity and
Yeah.
community are kind of our three main points. And this community is so great that we love to build a local style scene here. Where we found there's a niche there that needs to be filled, and we love to create styles that are wearable for the midwestern kind of personality or anybody, and just to create styles that fit for people and take into account what they want here. I think that's been a huge part of where we are today.
I've noticed that if we were to go back, let's say 15 years, the majority of apparel being produced in Fargo, North Dakota was novelty based. So people were making T-shirts that said
Old
like
fart fisherman.
right. Not everything in North Dakota is flat.
Something
that
about the
was
voices in my
popular.
head are telling you to be quiet.
Yeah.
And things. Yeah.
And they were just buying in bulk T-shirts, and somebody happened to have a screen printer, and that was the start and end to a Fargo apparel.
fashion.
Yeah.
And I think since then it's really great because not only companies like yours, but other even like some brands like the Duluth Trading Company have embraced the Upper Midwest, and they said, no, we're gonna build wear that farmers can have and that they're gonna like, because they don't want to keep going back in and buying a new shirt every 45 days. How does the oddity of Fargo, being that we're a metropolitan area that is completely surrounded by rural mentality, affect how you guys create your apparel?
I would say so again, this is where we work really well together, where we decide on what we like and what our style is. And we have a little bit of a different way of looking at things, but what's good quality, we focus on something that's a little bit better quality, but yet that you can wear inside your house, outside, go out with it, and still dress it up, dress it down. Kayla is super good at that, to make things function that way and to see what I don't see. But then I can tell her, listen, well, that color's not going to work, or what will work with our process of making things ourselves instead of just buying things in. But to get back to what your question is, to see what people like over here and to connect a local brand that's good quality and that's transparent and sincere about, hey, we're proud. It's cold outside right now, and I'm from South Africa. And I've never seen anything like this. It never even gets this cold where I'm from. But we love the area where we're in. We love the people make everything that's around here. The rural mentality, you can embrace it and use it. And to show people. Kayla designed the Botno turtle for a really good friend of ours, Susan. And you can talk a little bit more about that and explain what we did there and how she dresses it and works with it. Yeah.
She does. She has an eye for design too. She's an interior designer out of Botno, and she partnered with us on an apparel project using the Dak & Co styles and themes. We do a little bit of that, like we do Fierce Like Prairie Winds. We do some kind of inspirational, a little bit midwestern feeling apparel, but then we also, like I brought in a sweatshirt dress for ladies, and it's fitting for this kind of weather, but it also allows people to be stylish, yet still a little bit conservative as well. So we try to just talk to our audience, talk to people here, see what they want, and then kind of up the ante a little bit with just bringing in that sense of style as well.
I'm definitely not someone who even has the language of fashion in him.
He's worn that hoodie for 3 days straight.
3 days. I used duct tape to get the cat hair off of the sleeves before you guys showed up. But I guess one thing I am interested in is history and different fashion trends. You can sort of pinpoint them to an era, right? Big collars or bell bottoms or, flapper dresses or whatever, right? It's evocative of a time. But now it seems like there's just so many new styles and fusions of old styles and revisiting of things that it feels like the landscape has changed. So is there anything about the current era that is defining of it fashion-wise? Or are we now in a place where it's you won't really be able to pinpoint an era anymore?
There is a lot of fusion. I study a lot of the style trends and things that are going on, and I notice a lot of this fusion, and it's so much about like creating that personal style for an individual that they can take a style era that you can see everything out there from somebody wearing the 70s bell bottoms to 90s rock concert t-shirts, and it's all about embracing that individuality. And Dak & Co tries to fit in with that. Right now, we follow trends as well. Like that athleisure trend is very big right now, which is like wearing athletic wear and dressing it up for your day wear. Now, we fit that niche pretty well. But we're very aware of all the trends, and we try to focus on, where do we fit in? Where can we bring in elements of each trend or certain trends? What do we maybe want to stay away from? What has lasting power, and what can we bring in that's like trendy of the season?
Right now, we're in an era that feels very much. We listened to one of a very good influencing person from. Where's Jack Fussell from?
Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. And
what's the name?
Jack Fussell with Onward Creatives, him and his wife.
Okay.
And he said something really important a while ago on one of his podcasts where...
Make sure you're right on top of it right there. No problem.
He said something really important a while ago that in a talk that we listened to him, where we're in an era where people and a younger crowd or minimalist crowd is connecting a brand to what they wear. They're not interested in the big corporate stuff anymore. They're interested in that small business, and they wear it with pride from who it comes from and what the story connects them to. And that's kind of important right now, right here too, because that's where we at. And it's awesome to be able to wear something from Fargo. We've sent shirts all over the country,
all over the world.
Yeah. From Croatia to
Croatia. We have Dak wearing Croatia.
Awesome. But do you think this stops with our generation though? Because there are a lot of kids wearing Supreme shirts, and and that's a $3 shirt that you spend $50 on, and that's just a white shirt with a red logo on it. So, how do things like that affect your industry? When a zeitgeist happens, that's sort of a cultural thing. Like I was listening to a Tim Ferriss podcast recently, and this fella gave a great breakdown of the Supreme trend, and that basically the right high status kids started wearing these obnoxious shirts at school to show the fact that their parents could spend $45 on a t-shirt. And because of that sort of cultural beginning, it became this thing where the makers of Supreme even they intentionally sell out. Like they only make so many shirts because the scarcity is also part of the drive for it. So how do you deal with things like that when they come in and seem to sort of really
we kind of do the same thing. We focus very much on small batch, user design that Kayla designed, and small batch on a certain style or a certain shirt. And when that's sold out, it's sold out. And so that means if we only made 40 of those shirts, there's only going to be 40 people that own a shirt like that. And then we'll bring a next different style or something different, a different aspect, and focus very, very hard on our fabrics, focus very hard on our materials. So focus very hard on what we put on the shirt and the process that we go through to make them. And it's kind of what we focus on as well. But what do you think?
I also feel like, when we get to know people, that is our biggest asset because we love to celebrate local style. We love to celebrate collaborations. And we feel like with us, it's the experience that matters. And the T-shirt or the sweatshirt is the takeaway of that experience. So that's kind of like...
It is important. I hear what you say, but there's trends that comes and goes. And as long as we just carry on doing what we're doing and the way that we do it, feel very strong about it. And like Kayla says, it's the experience to come to one of our pop-ups or come to one of our events, the way we at or what we're doing, and just listen to someone's story, listen to what their story is and where they come from. Some of them are intrigued by our story, some of them are intrigued by my accent and ask, hey, where are you from? How did you get here? Oh, my wife brought me here.
How did you get here?
Hey,
How did you get?
He
Who
gets
let
that
you
a lot.
in?
Buy a shirt and I'll tell you the whole story.
So a lot of times that's what happens, and then in the end of the day you end up listening to a half an hour story of their life. Oh, and they've been there, or they've seen this, or they just absolutely fall in love with the Fargo design that Kayla designed, and they're like, oh, that's a bison. It says Fargo, and we didn't realize that at first, and that's pretty awesome. So there's always and then a lot of the older generation love to buy it for someone or someone that's not in Fargo anymore, who lived in Fargo, brothers and sisters who's been here or lived here and they miss home and they want to send them something really unique. So we keep the local, again, this comes down to the local people that is just absolutely amazing in this town. The local people is a huge support to what we do. So
a big inspiration to us. Like a lot of my designs come from, ideas that I hear just in conversation with people.
I hope at the end of this episode you have an idea for a new piece and it's not socks.
We'll do some socks.
So, Kayla, how do you get into designing clothing?
That started in 2011. I graduated with a graphic design degree, so I had kind of a basic design sense. And apparel started when I joined Minot Fashion Week as kind of a creative outlet where my mother and I designed looks for local fashion shows. And the money that was raised at those fashion shows went to someone in the community in need. So we did a few of those runway shows, and that's where I truly fell in love with fashion and style. And because of that, my mom she's a master seamstress. I can't sew to save my life. She does a lot of that end of things, especially when it comes to putting on like a couture show or more of an art movement with the clothing. So that's where that started. And it wasn't till I was a couple years into being a freelance graphic designer, and I realized I wanted to make a shift and put it into my own brand. And DAC originated, it was a cold winter day, much like today in January. And I just made a doodle of the Fargo bison. And then it all kind of, like, it started on wall hangings. So we started with collaboration with wall hangings. And then I was like, one day I was just like, nope, it's going to be fashion, primarily fashion. And that's how that came about.
In February, we did what it was that February when you went up to Winnipeg.
I did. I was recruited from a group of artists in Winnipeg. They saw my Facebook page and they said, "Hey, would you be interested in coming to Winnipeg and do a style show?" And I had about 6 weeks to put together couture looks plus the T-shirts. Our very first round of T-shirts came out, and my mom and I designed menswear and women's wear, fun skirts and fun, really elaborate vests. And I went up to Canada and presented that on a runway. I had to seek my models out through the internet. I had one contact there, and that's how that got started.
Just so you know, if you need anyone with runway experience, this guy has actual runway experience.
That's right. That's right.
Who was that
Hey.
It was during Fashion Avenue. It was during Christmas Gifts Fashion Avenue. And I think they've had this.
You were at the Fargo,
Fashion Week
as well.
too.
Yeah.
That's where it was.
So
yes.
that was then after the Winnipeg show where we worked on pairing the T-shirts with the
Skirts
clothing
and
the
menswear, yeah.
that worked really well, and that was really in the beginning, and we were not really knowing even what
Yeah,
we were
we weren't
doing at the
even-
time. We just were just thrown in it and try it out, and it was successful. And then Fargo Fashion Week came about, and Kayla played a big role in Fargo Fashion Week. That's where I think we met you for the first time. Or saw
Yeah, we
you
got
for
to
the
MC
first time.
some of that. That was
Correct,
fun.
yeah. And we had our booth there, and some really good collaborations came from the Fashion Week as
Yeah.
well. We had our first wholesale to one of the local boutiques in town, came from there. They saw us over there, and they were interested in what we're doing. And again, at that time, we were still, we're not really way better right now, but at that time we were still just
babies.
experimenting.
We were
in
babies.
a lot of things.
We still had pacifiers at that time.
That's how it starts.
So, what's it like operating a business like this, and to not have a brick and mortar store, but to have other stores more or less competing for your business?
It's actually been really interesting the last 6 months or so that we do some wholesaling, but we primarily focus on, if it happens to work out, a wholesale works out, then it's perfect. But our main focus right now is maybe to develop a potential brick and mortar in the future and really focus on creating that brand and blowing it up. We're outgrowing our space here at Aft. You should see our studio. It looks like my closet right now, spilling over. And that's a good problem to have. But yeah, without the brick and mortar, we have to be really creative with, creating that online presence with our online store, as well as, focusing really on those pop-ups and making those a wow factor.
We're definitely in an era where you really need to do your math 4 or 5 times over if you want to
Correct.
start brick and mortar.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because just the overhead that comes with just having a building sinks so many businesses. And now that we have a gig economy and we've got eBay and Amazon and all these ways that empower a small business to be direct to consumer.
Yeah, that's also where I come in a little bit more to play with forecasting and making numbers up
Right.
and explaining to Kayla, calm down a little
I
bit.
know, I get these ideas. And
We can't go there right now. We just have
See, we
to
need
first
him.
stay
We need
here.
him. We need him.
should do some consulting on the side, honey. Not a bad
Yeah, no
idea.
kidding. I think it's pretty interesting, though, that what you two effectively do is you make art that is functional, right? It's art that you don't just put on a wall and go, wow, isn't that pretty? The guests can see it when they come over. You wear it. It's a part of your identity in some ways, too. How many of the people do you think of your customers seem to respond more to one side or the other, the art side versus the functionality side? I mean, obviously, if someone can say, wow, this is beautiful, do they also say, wow, it's really warm and soft and it feels good?
Like I said, that the first thing that we believe in is good product, good material, focusing on the fabric and getting fabric. We brought fabrics in it costs a good amount of money to experiment, but we did it so we can find what we're looking for, to find something specific. And I believe in dry blend material. She's calling me now. someone that knows fabric, but
I call him like a fashion geek or the fabric geek. He geeks out.
Like the thread count, or
He'll start talking about the blends and like what they all are, and our guests are. Like, it gets a little bit. Some of our guests are really,
some like
really
it, and
like
others
it, but
will be
others are like,
okay, now I
know,
need to shut my mouth.
But honestly, I think people are really focused. They want something cozy and comfy that they can wear in North Dakota.
And comfy, I think, is the most important word. You know, when you were talking about trends, the trend I see right now is people want comfort, but they don't want sweatpants.
Yeah.
They want to be comfortable in something that they can wear to work. They want to be comfortable in something they can go out to drinks in.
Yep.
But also at the same time, it's got to have this look, but it's also got to have this functionality for them. And that's a very interesting blend of things together. It's like, oh, I want to be able to eat cookies, but I also want to drive a semi truck at the same time.
Love these pants we're getting with elastic waistbands and everything. Yes, for the Taco Bell generation,
okay.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, big
Yeah,
time.
I have some pants. They're pleated. I can wear them as dress pants, but they have an elastic waist. I can also wear
That is
them to like a
that is
fitness
the
class.
best.
Nice.
Yeah,
the
it's like even what I'm wearing now. This is a Dak & Co sample, and it's super comfy, and that's like our main focus because. Yeah, today people are really busy. They want clothes that can function for multiple purposes, and to be able to be comfortable in what you're wearing is key. And that's our number one. And then the art comes in as well. Like I'd say 50-50 depend on who walks through the door, but we try to find that nice harmony between the creative, the couture, or the really fashion forward, adventurous, and the midwestern comfort feeling that they want in clothing.
The first thing when someone walks in and we start talking about a shirt is I ask them before anything, please feel each one of the fabrics and stick your hand in on the inside and feel the softness and the comfiness on the inside of the shirts, because that's where the magic lays. The sweatshirts, the hoodies, the t-shirts, the lady shirts, everything. I just got 2 shirts in for men. So we did this, I want to say over a year ago. We brought a shirt in that there was a material that I could not find anything to how to print on this material, but we want to print on it instead of doing just something small on it, and came up with a new technique that at the time nobody was using in Fargo. And nobody was really doing it. And I went to a couple of different people that's been in the business, guys that helped us start out, friends of ours. And they said, well, let's try this. And I said, screw it up as bad as you can and let's go from there. And it worked like magic. And
it was beautiful. We got the shirt. I said this is going to be our number one seller, and it
was.
And it was
and
for
it
that
was.
for
the,
that first
the fabric, the style on it was
boutique feeling ladies shirt.
Top.
Yeah.
And just recently they started making men's t-shirts out of the same
it's
fabric.
Comfortable,
so
you
I
guys.
ordered 2 of them in, one for me and one for a guy in Milwaukee, a guy in Milwaukee that we have a very special order for. So he'll be the first guy to receive one, and then I have one for myself so I can try it out. But when it's just an amazing shirt, so that's a
we have
key
listeners
thing.
in Milwaukee, so
we do.
You guys look for that shirt while you're walking around. Next time you go to a Brewers game,
He's actually
He's like a pro athlete.
yeah, he's a pro speed skater.
What?
Was America's. Actually, I should not say all of this because this is a surprise to him. So
Well, he probably listens to JJ Meets World. We're huge in the speed skating community.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
Massive,
That's not at all
massive.
true. Not at all true.
we're really trying to break into the competitive eating group, though. So if anyone out there can eat 100 pancakes in one sitting,
Nice.
So here's dialing back to the brick and mortar store and doing business with other boutique shops, and is it sometimes difficult when you get a wholesale order to hand it over and to know that you don't really have the control now of how they're going to sell this product, how they're going to display it? I imagine you guys offer some insight to them and at least come in and check on it, but ultimately, right, they've purchased these shirts. They need to move these sweatshirt dresses or whatever it is. And could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We communicate really well with our boutiques we work with and let them know like a kind of where we price things, and they usually ask too, like, where do you usually price this? So they're really good to work with in that respect. And I haven't, when they purchase the clothes, we're just excited that, to get the brand out there, to collaborate. I feel like the boutiques we work with do a great job at, selling the product. And I pop in from time to time. We just started selling with mint and basil, and it's so fun to see the product because it fits so well with the style and the aesthetic of the store and the customer that walks through the door that, when we find a boutique, we try to find that common ground in style, and it usually works out, when it should. So it's pretty good.
We don't actively seek and go to stores or to boutiques or to Shields and to ask, can you carry our product? We don't actively do that though. We do our thing. We believe in our pop-ups. Big. We were, again, kind of pioneers in the pop-up game. We were the first people who did it in Fargo, who started having a little booth inside other stores or for a couple of hours. And things like the wine walk, the Thursday night wine walks were really good in the beginning. That's also where we learned a lot of our stuff, what fits, how to make yourself kind of blend into another store and work with the people and just create a fun environment. But then when someone will come and ask us, hey, we would really like to carry your line, that's when we will work with them. So actively, and again, doing a wholesale is not going to, it doesn't bring in tons of money, and it's not the most profitable thing to do. What is super exciting is the collaboration.
Collaborate. Yeah.
To collaborate with them. And that's why our name is Dak & Co, is to collaborate with as many small businesses, local people as what we can. And we'll work with any other store that's interested in working with us, and that would come to us and say they fell in love with the product or wants to carry our brand, like Susan and Bartno. Bartno was
a magical fit. Like when it's a fit, it works really well.
But to go and try to try and press someone to sell our product feels not right.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring something and force you to and lay out and do marketing and promote my product and how great it is. It should be as easy and as simple as it can be, as in, hey, this is working together, we're jiving and we're just having a good time together, and we love that we can help you, and you can have events and bring people to see our products there and sell our products. And then what's really fun is when you go around and you start saying, hey, there's one of our shirts.
Oh, I love seeing the DAC wear. It's so fun.
But I can't remember that customer buying from us. Or they'll come up to our booth and say, yeah, I have one of your shirts and I absolutely love it. It's the most softest shirt that I own. I wear it almost every day.
That happened to me. I went to a women's event 2 days ago, and I was wearing one of our DAC shirts, and she said, I have that shirt.
Yeah. Where did you get it? At this store. Oh, over there.
Yeah,
And
it was
it's
really
like,
fun.
It's super cool to hear.
Makes me feel good that people like this stuff.
It sounds like your strategy then was, at the beginning, just provide a good service to the customers that walk through the door. And if they like you enough, they will become ambassadors for you.
Pretty much,
and proselytize for you.
Yeah.
And then if a company comes to you, that means that they've heard about you, your reputation sort of did the ask for you, right?
Yeah.
And they come to you, and then if they're coming to us and saying that means they truly value the product that we're making versus maybe a big box that goes, yeah, sure, fine, whatever, and we're going to put you over by the diapers.
Best marketing on this planet is word to mouth, and that's how it is. There's no other way around it. When someone if your name carries you and carries you well, that's just what it is.
What about What about if has a company approached you guys yet and said, "Listen, we want to do, we want a line of clothing for our employees, or we want to have something that we can give out to clients and things like that." Could you guys design something on our behalf? Have companies approached you yet?
You want to take this one?
Yeah, because I'm scared of what you're gonna say.
Oh, now I really want her to take it.
I mean, this answer could be just yes or no.
We'll do it at the same time. Just say it at the same time.
I guess it's
JJ, we have big plans for our future coming, for our next year coming. We've been doing this now for 2 years, focusing very hard on what we're doing. But I have a full-time job that I spend. I mean, this week I spent 14 hours to 12 hours plus every day at work. From 5:30 in the morning, I'm up and I go out and I come back at 7 or 8. And I come to the studio and I spend an hour here, but then I mess stuff up because I'm too tired. And then Kayla's like, "What are you doing here?" This morning I realized.
husband and wife in business is a whole
I'm not going to
new
complain
ball
about that 8
game.
to 5 I was complaining about. I'm not going to complain about that anymore.
Yeah, so this morning it happened again and I was like, I looked at it and I just, how did I even manage to do this? And then sometimes I'll just print something upside down. It happens. And
does.
Kayla will be like,
I just look and I'm just like, I'm just not going to say anything
so,
right now.
when you're tired, you do interesting things. It happens.
Yeah.
But we really want to get ourselves to the point where we can make enough money to sustain us and to be able to have me full-time in the business as well. And in the next coming months, we have a couple of really big transitionings that's going to happen that we can't really talk too much about now.
Top secret.
But we have a couple of announcements. We're growing with Apt. We're sticking with Apt no matter what and
Awesome.
where Apt's
Yeah,
going.
they've
Good to
been
hear.
great.
Good to hear that.
We love Dana. We love all the people in Apt, and Dana and Apt has been super awesome. Tanya and Christina, they all do an extraordinary job. But we're also looking to grow our business into a couple of different routes of revenue, and that will include what you are asking right now. That will maybe include, we haven't completely decided yet where and how, but we are looking at plans like that to grow into something like that, and that would be mainly my focus of things, to be able to, I've got 5 years in handling clients and marketing, selling fertilizer to the most difficult clients on the planet, farmers.
It's true.
Because his great-granddad did it that way. His granddad did it that way. He's doing it that way. His son's going to do it that way. And to persuade his son to do it differently but I've got 5 generations of experience that's been doing it this way. So who are you to come and tell me? I know my land. So that would be a little bit more on my side of things to handle, but yet we will make every decision together and where we go with it and how we do things. And then we will be most likely taking on, when I can spend more than 2 hours a day in our own company and in our business where I can take care of things, then we will most likely be very open to take things on like that. Kayla would be helping out with the designing, and I will handle the rest of it. But Kayla's main focus will be Dak & Co. and to pursue what she's doing, because she's doing awesome job at marketing. She's like key role player there. Without her, I'm useless.
Now, you home listeners can't see this, but he's unrolled a thing that says world domination, but that's kind of scribbled out. And he just put business plan above it. So, now, and so let's talk about marketing a little bit. The grass does not grow underneath your feet with marketing. You're doing a lot of different things. In fact, you had Emily Brooks on your video podcast,
Shout
or
out
whatever
to
you're going to
Emily
call
Brooks.
Yes.
it, just this last week. But you can't. I mean, you guys have posts all the time, and they're not just like, "Hey, here I'm sharing a meme from somewhere else." it's all really curated quality posts that you're putting out there.
Stop that side eye you're giving me about our Facebook page. Right
I know.
now.
If you could.
You just stop it.
Our
right
last post says Happy Independence Day. So what's it like to market in the 21st century with all the social media, and there's still some traditional marketing techniques that people use?
Marketing is probably 80% of my time, my energy. Design work has its place and time, but it is mostly marketing. I have kind of a strategy yet free-flowing marketing plan, I guess. Wednesdays are my big day. Tuesdays I go live with the Find Your Style show, and I feature local guests, and we talk a little bit about, like Emily, we talked a little bit about Taya Made, her business, and then we talked about her style secrets and curating style. So I find my guests, and it's, usually just organic finding. I'm not actively searching. It's just conversation. And if it clicks, they're on the show. So that's like a big part of it, because with that, the next Wednesday, I spend most of my day creating a blog and a newsletter to go out with that blog. And all of the graphics are very thought out because of, that background. I'm able to do the branding aspect of it. And I feel like, when that looks good and that looks like someone can see something and say, that's Stack and Collaboratives, without even seeing the logo, that's kind of my goal with it. So I spend a lot of time researching and reading and just word of mouth, talking with people, and creative marketing too. We do, we get out there, we do commercials with other people. We get our faces out there. We're on a billboard, on a couple billboards in the western part of the state. Yeah. So, even that isn't Dak & Co. specific, but it gets that familiarity with, like, our faces and, especially his face, his sexy mug over there.
Tucker says the same thing to me all the time, so I know what it's like.
Yeah, I think the title of this episode
man.
will be His Sexy Mug.
His sexy mug.
I don't know. Maybe. Not sure yet. Maybe.
It's difficult for me. I get an email. We have a Dak & Co email account and then I'll get a notification. I see something about a commercial, or I see something about a billboard, or I see something about a photo shoot, and I just think,
but he's a good sport.
What are we doing right now? And then I'll call and say, Kayla, so I saw this email come through. What do we have in mind here? Oh, we're just gonna do this commercial quickly, and you have to do that and be dressed, and I already put your clothes. Like, I am having a difficult day right now. I do not want to go and put a smile on in front of people. I have no modeling background at all. I do not look like one, but then she'll just like kind of shove me in there and you go and do it.
Hey, but it seems to be working out, right?
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I just want to give it a shout out because last week, Thursday, she said to me, and I'm awful at this, I have to admit, and we both kind of neglect each other sometimes by not seeing how awesome the other one is doing.
Aww.
And last week, Thursday, she's like, have you read the newsletter? And I said, no, I haven't. I will get to it. And I kind of just shove it off because I regularly don't.
Thanks, hon.
unless she tells me, go on Instagram and like a post, I won't.
I have to tell him every time, go and like and comment, please.
If she says, have you seen on Facebook what I post? No, I haven't. Go on Facebook and like it and see it. Okay, fine, I will. Did you read the newsletter? No, I haven't. Go on and read it.
I think they get the point there, hon.
No, keep going. Yeah. This is good.
So last week, Thursday, she actually pulled it up on her computer to show me the newsletter that she did. And I just kind of, my heart got soft and I kind of teared up. And I was like, wow, this is insanely professional. I cannot believe like you did this. This is absolutely awesome. So yeah, she does an extremely good job at what she's doing.
You're out of the doghouse, dude. Good job. You talked your way out of it. Good job, man.
Yep, he did. Yep.
I need to learn from you. There's a lot of things I need to learn from you.
So being a couple as well as being business partners, is it difficult to put like barriers up and to say like, listen, this is time where we're not going to talk about the business and we're going to focus on being a couple, or we need to set aside the fact that we care deeply about each other and have a serious conversation, where we're probably going to get a little heated about this, but it isn't a relationship fight. It is a business fight. How does that change? I mean, do you just seriously say like, okay, everyone turn around in a circle, and then when we come back, we're business. Turn around in a circle, come back, we're a couple.
That's actually a good idea.
There are times that, as a couple, like we get heated as a couple, and those two worlds do mesh. And then I realized I need to step back and just think about, okay, what are my emotions doing here? What is the reality? What do we need to actually accomplish? And I'm not perfect at it, but I'm try to take myself back and think, okay, if we're in business right now, we're talking business. If we're in couple time, we're talking couple time. But sometimes those, it's a harmony. There's no such thing as balance. Mm-hmm. Harmony is where we try to find some sort of sane to the crazy with it. I can't go home and complain about my business partner because he's sitting right next to me at the dinner table. But it's all about having grace for one another and owning up to, when we make mistakes. And it's all growth, and we can only get better. And those days happen where the fights happen or not seeing eye to eye happens. But it's how do we bounce back? How do we learn from that?
Yeah, we're definitely not perfect.
We're not
in
perfect
any
at all.
way at all. We fight just like any other couple, but what's kind of funny is sometimes when we get angry at each other or like just very small things,
Stupid
and we
things,
get
yeah.
annoyed with one another in a relationship, and we can literally be in the middle of an argument and see an email come through, or someone would call about the business, and we'll just immediately go to the business side.
Business hats go
and
on.
It's like,
Emotional
done.
hats
Hey,
go
this
out the
needs to
door.
happen. This is what's going on. Hey, we need to get this done. And all of a sudden, the fight's kind of paused, and we'll continue with that later.
Which is, it's kind of nice actually, because it gives it time to like rest, and then we
when
actually,
you come back with logic, you're calmer. But
So-
it's Chip Gaines, Chip and
Joanna are really
Gaines,
inspirational to us.
very inspirational to us. And I read his book called Capital Gains, and he says in there something that we struggle super hard at. He says the magical thing, there's no magic in their relationship. They fight like regular people. They're not perfect. They also have issues. But the magic and the secret that they have to one another is they show grace, and they accept each other for making mistakes, as in they'll let each other make mistakes. And when I read that, I was like, wow, I should really use this and talk to Kayla about this. And we talked about it, and it's just like one of those things, you know it, you don't do it. And then after a while, we'll think about it and realize, okay, well, we're only human. Your expectations is here. It's not a computer or a robot. It's just a human. We all make mistakes and carry on after that, but it's very difficult sometimes.
I love when people say like, well, I'm human, I make mistakes, I'm not a robot. Robots make mistakes all the time.
Come to think of it, I hate my telephone.
Yeah, there you go, right? Have you ever seen like an assembly line when something goes wrong? Whoa, boy.
Oh my goodness, I could
Can't even
imagine. Oh.
I can't think of a single thing in the world that's perfect. So why are we trying to compare ourselves to become something that doesn't truly exist
Don't know.
outside of the mind?
It's a social pressure. It's this, for some reason, a high water mark got set along the way by someone somewhere, and then we all just bought into the notion that we have to meet it.
Yeah,
But,
the expectation aspect is then you expect so much from that person when that person do pull off some kind of magical thing, and then all of a sudden you have this expectation that's high up there that they cannot make mistakes. They just look at what they just did. They can make magic happen or miracles happen. And then when you do make a mistake, it's like, wow, I'm kind of disappointed. This guy really disappointed me. But you know what? It's just, we're all human.
I think we're like pretty hard. For me, speaking from experience, I'm really hard on myself and keep myself keep the bar extremely high. And I need to like kind of simmer down on that. There's times when it gets to that breaking point where, okay, human, remember, focus on like the small wins, especially if we have something really big in the works, I can get a little bit in my head about it. So I like to focus then on small wins, daily little wins, just to kind of bring it back down to a realistic level.
It is difficult because I feel like today more than ever, people are putting pressure on themselves to, not only have to achieve your dream, but you have to achieve your dream and make it look effortless. There's all these things that people are trying to do, and that pressure is just, it causes things like sleepless nights, and then you print a t-shirt upside down. And it really is too bad that is part of our, how we operate.
I have a solution for you. You need a single rack in your store that are just the ones that he messes up when he's too tired. And then go, this is a very special limited edition.
This is a one of a kind.
He was tired, and I used to collect superhero trading cards when I was a kid. And every once in a while, there would be ones that were misprinted, and they were worth more because there were almost none of those particular ones. So if you got like a pack of cards and one was cut wrong or something, you'd go, awesome, I got a misprint. Graphic designers who I know, like if they're doing a lot of screen prints, they'll do their tests, and then they'll sell the tests as something. So just every part of the buffalo, you guys, you got to make sure that even those mess up ones can be sold to someone.
That is genius.
There you go.
That is the light bulb in the room right there.
There you go.
We're going to do
We
that.
have 2 boxes full of them.
There you go.
Boom.
You know what? You take that shirt, and then like at the very bottom corner, I'm telling you how to do your job now, Kayla. You put like a 1 of 1 on there, and so people know like this is the only one of this shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, status symbol. I'm never gonna tuck this.
Maybe
in.
write how many hours he had just worked before he did it. So, this was an 18-hour day one.
Yeah.
You need like a notepad right now. This is going to happen.
Then you really know. A lot of people want to know how their clothes gets made. I want to make sure kids are being mistreated in a third world country somewhere. Well, this is minute detail. Like he hadn't eaten dinner yet. He had just gotten home from a 17-hour shift, and he accidentally put it in this way.
Oh yeah, it's
$40, please.
It's a conversation starter, and you could even call it like your Dak happens line.
That happens. Didn't we say when this podcast just started, we're gonna walk out here with
Good night.
Yep, there you go. Start
We got to share the
working on
napkin.
it.
We got to write
Yep.
these down.
Well, this will be on the internet pretty much forever. So you guys can also just download it and listen.
Not worried about that.
Yeah, we should. We
Forgot
will.
about that.
The last thing I want to ask you guys is, so recently I was down at a winery in Colfax that just opened, and in the winery they had pictures and brochures for other wineries in the area, and I was like, well, why are you sending people to other businesses? And they said, well, they helped us start. Some of these places told us how to set up equipment. Some of these places gave us their expertise. They've been telling other people about it. Does that work the same way like in the apparel industry locally?
Absolutely.
Like you guys must know all of the players. Is it all supportive because when, all ships rise with the tide with getting people to wear locally?
We don't know. We can't talk for anybody else, but our
for us.
intentions is absolutely there. When someone I've pressed shirts for friends of ours that
Competitors.
that do the same things as us. That he'll call me at 9 or 10 in the night and say, "Hey, I've got this thing and I'm screwing it up, and I need to deliver this. Can you come over to my house?" I'm pretty tired right now. And Kayla say, "Why are you going out right now? Where are you going?" "Well, I'm gonna go and help a guy."
He pays in good whiskey, so.
And other people that does it as well in town, we encourage them and try to help them where we can. It's like, cool, do it. Just try to keep the product good. You know, if it's really bad, we're most likely not gonna want to be associated with it.
But all in all, it's like you said, like we all kind of rise together, because anybody trying to make a movement in fashion in Fargo and Moorhead, I think, is someone we're allies with. it's fun to see the other designers come up with other things, and it's fun to, have conversations with some of the other creators as well.
Hear
So, yeah, I
their
would definitely-
problems and see their
Yeah,
issues
'cause
as well. We
we've
had
had
really
help.
good talk to other people too.
We've had help
And-
getting our startup from another company in town
Yep,
too.
we can
and
give them a shout out too and say to Justin and Eric from
Yeah,
Shirts from
Shirts from
Fargo,
Fargo.
and Fargo
Give us our
Science.
start.
Those
Yeah.
guys were, I think we still owe them a ton of money for all the help
Sweat equity.
they helped us when we started out, because when Dak was born, when Kayla made this little doodle on a paper, and it's
Should've
quite
brought it.
funny when you see it. It's absolutely nothing compared to what it is on the on real
Digital,
life
yeah.
and digital. But I can't talk because my drawings is stickman drawings, and then Kayla improves them because I can't draw a stickman. And that is very sad and true. But she designed it, and I saw it and realized we're onto something here. And I said to her, do not show this to anybody in this town. Hold on to this thing and keep it a secret. And all she wanted to do is just go and show it to everyone and post it on Facebook.
I didn't have
Just
any idea it was going to
hold
become a business. It was just
onto
a
this.
doodle.
This thing is going to be major. I can see amazing potential in this. Hold on. And we started looking around to what will work, and we came about our first collaboration with Grain Designs and asked them if they can make us a couple of metal hangings. The huge metal hanging in
Professional Building on 52nd has the original DAC, the bison.
first,
And
really?
first DAC ever sold that is...
it's maybe twice the size of this if you
yeah.
think scaling it.
Okay.
It's gigantic. And that was the first DAC that ever sold. After that, Grain Designs did more for us, and they sell them as well. They carry them as well. But then we kind of were
Got into
looking and
t-shirts.
finding something, and Justin and Eric was the guys, and Kayla met them at TEDx, and they were working on TEDx promo, and they were the guys that helped us start it up. And like I say, they charged us here and there for some stuff, but man, they've been amazing to us. And
They've been great. Yeah,
and,
we still work with them.
two awesome guys. And if anybody is listening, it's looking for any promo, any signage, anything, check out Signs for Work. They do it. They're really good guys to work with. They do all Sanford stuff. They're really awesome guys. And they're also going to be really key players in our future here in the next couple of months. They're going to be really high key players for us.
See, that's amazing. You'd never hear Old Navy talk about how great they think, the work being done by Gap is right now.
Are these fellas good conversationalists? Would we want to have them on the podcast at some point?
Heck,
Yeah.
I'm sure they can tell you some stories because
Oh, yeah. They've been in the game for
Yeah,
quite a few years. They
5
had their
years.
start, I think, at Office Sign Company.
Yeah,
And then
I
I'm pretty
think
sure
they
with
helped
Ryan.
them out too. I'm not sure how I can't
We
talk
don't
for
know,
we
like,
don't know them.
they'd
But
be great to have in
yeah,
to talk about their
talk to
backstory.
them
Awesome.
and they can tell you they've been around the block a couple of times. They
they were
were
great.
startups, and they were
Helped
two
with our
young
experiments.
guys that just climbed out and said we want to do this, and they got it done.
All right,
and
if you
they
guys
still
are
going.
if you guys are listening, we're reaching out to you ASAP. So accept our friend request. As we wrap things up, where can people find you guys?
Ooh,
Give
I'll
all
take-
the information.
All the
She's got
deets.
it memorized.
I've got it memorized. You can find us on Instagram at DAC_life. You can find us on Facebook at
And
our
spell DAC too.
DAK_LIFE. No C.
No, see.
And then you can find us at our pop-ups. And the best way to reach us, honestly, is to get on our newsletter, get on our mailing list. If you go to shop.daklife.co, about 30 seconds in, you'll get a pop-up that lets you sign up with your email, and you get everything in your inbox only once a week. We don't bombard you, and we don't throw a bunch of promo at you, but we do let you know of our upcoming events and our big event, our big announcement. We will be in West Acres Mall at a pop-up for the month of December. We're right next to Santa Claus in the Macy's court area,
Cool.
between the candy shop and the jewelry store.
And then we
Oh.
Yeah.
also mentioned the next couple of events coming up. We're doing a collaboration with Apt and Creative Plains.
Yep.
We're doing kids shirts. We don't do kids shirts. We don't do youth, but for this event specifically, we're gonna be making we're gonna be printing shirts on location.
On location, on demand for children. They get to design their own T-shirts and put their own decals, and then we will press it for them. It's free of charge.
What?
It's part of the Pangea event on the 17th at the.
Yenkomst.
How do you say the
Yenkomst.
Yes,
Yenkomst.
it'll be there.
Or you could just say the Cass County or the Clay County Historical Society. You know, I think that fits too.
Yenkomst.
Yeah.
So those are our kind of places to find us, and then on Facebook as well. So
Small Business Saturday will be an Apt, and we will be at
the FM Holiday Market by 521 Handmaids.
Yep, and then throughout the whole of December we'll be
West
in Apt,
Acres
also
and
on
Apt.
Thursdays and Saturday evenings.
Do you guys accept appointments? Like if someone calls, like can they come here and visit you in Apt?
Yep.
Definitely. Our showroom is open for visitors. We just set up an appointment, and you can reach out to us via email at info at daklife.co.
Sweet.
And just to verify that DAC is not for Dakota. It is actually the bison's name.
Yeah,
that
Dak the
Kayla had a
bison.
poll on Facebook. What can we name this little character? And his name came about the family.
My cousin won, actually. Cherry, we did a voting on a few of the names, and Dak was the one that won the name. And so he's Dak the Bison, and that is what started Dak and Collaboratives, the brand.
And the co is not for
interesting.
company, but
It's
for
for collaboratives.
collaboratives.
That's very cool. Thank you guys so much. I can't wait to buy one of your shirts right off the bat. And like the sweatshirt dress, I really think is going to be a stocking stuffer for my wife.
She'd love it.
I know she would. So don't listen to this podcast, Jill.
She's not.
No, she's
We
not.
know
No,
she's
she's
not.
not. She gets enough of me at home.
Could care less.
Thank you guys so much for coming in, and it's great being your neighbors here at Apt.
Likewise.
you. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it. Thanks
us.
for having us.
JJ Meets World.
That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode of JJ Meets World and would like to help us continue to produce 2 new episodes every week, you can donate to our Patreon. Check out patreon.com/JJ Meets World and donate today. Even as little as $1 a month can go a long way. Visit our website at www.jjmeetsworld.com or hit up our social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the sites the kids are using these days. If you'd like to stay up to date on new episodes of JJ Meets World, you can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, YouTube, or wherever you consume the podcast that you love. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by checking out www.moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, go to linebenders.com, and you can find direct contact info for JJ. I'm designing a pair of underpants right now that also function as regular pants. So I'm trying to think if they should be called outer pants or if they should be pants. But anyway you cut it, I like the word underpants.